Hi, and welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for taking time for yourself today. I'm very excited to introduce this new series called Perspective. This interview is the first in this new series for the Unshamed.co community. I'm going to be interviewing people from all walks of life to gain their insights from their own life, experiences, tragedies, and strengths. I have asked this wonderful woman to share her experiences and struggles with you today. Aubree is a nurse. She's been doing that for a long time.
13 years.
13 years. So, how did that come about?
So I honestly have no idea. That's the truth. I really, really don't. I just when my plan for myself, because all the women in my family, they all got married and had kids and right out of high school. If they finished high school, they didn't. None of them went to college or got a career. And I remember that's what I always thought I was going to do. Get out of high school, get married and have kids. And I remember thinking my senior year, just because that was always in sight, like that was always in my mind. This is what's going to happen, and finally realizing where I actually was, and I was just like, wow, I'm not even remotely close to getting married and having kids, so I better figure something out. And I had no idea how to do that because there was no direction from anybody on like college or anything. So I just went down to the community college in Scottsdale, and I talked to a counselor and just started my prereqs because I had no idea what I wanted to do.
Well, that's a good place to start.
Yes, yep. And she signed me up, and I got started. And then during my first semester, I was watching a show. I've always had kind of like a science brain, more than an artsy brain. And I was watching a show, and the girl in it, the main character in it, was in med school. And I was like, that's I think what I want to do. I should do med school. But then when I talked to my counselor and figured out how long it was going to be, because I still had this goal in my mind to get married and have kids, and that's what I ultimately wanted, I was like, man, that's just too long. And I was like, well, maybe I could, be a nurse. Maybe that might work, So she kind of directed me in and all the prereqs I was taking would direct me to nursing. So it was kind of a journey, but I really, honestly, by the grace of God, just fell into it. I really did. It was never like a lifelong dream of mine or anything.
All right, so meant to be.
Yes, meant to be.
And you love it.
So, so I wish I loved it. I do, and when I say that, I always, whenever I complain about my career or anything, I feel bad about it because I'm so thankful for it. Literally, could not be more grateful that I actually did that. That I went to college and got a career. Especially because I don't know how I did it. Who besides God told me to do it? But it's given me so many good blessings, like lifelong friends and my husband I met because of my job, and travel experiences that and being able to provide for myself like I never would have been able to, so I'm very thankful for my job and that I can help people, like that I have the knowledge to help people, and prevent things, but it's hindered my mental health a lot, so that's the only problem.
And that is a problem when our mental health fails.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Almost everything else in our life starts to crumble.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And that is hard.
It's
so
very
hard.
It's very hard.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Mental health.
Mm-hmm.
I love that topic.
Yes.
It's so broad and yet so specific to every individual. Even if you and I might have a similar situation which causes us mental distress, it's going to affect you differently than it's going to affect me.
Right.
And so that's what's so interesting about mental health, is that two people might go through the exact same situation, and yet one may come out completely unscathed, and the other might come out completely disheartened and from head to toe changed on the inside.
Oh, yeah. Mental health definitely changes you, I think.
Absolutely. All right. So you said that your job. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So,
okay.
Well, I've always, been a somewhat anxious person. I grew up in a toxic household. Like, my parents were alcoholics, and we were kind of neglected, but we were very taken care of by my grandparents, so I think that's what saved my twin sister and I. But, so I've always had anxiety. I think secondary to that, just that causes problems when you're young.
Cognitively recognized as anxiety for yourself,
no, probably I didn't recognize it was anxiety until I was an adult, I think. Yeah, when I was younger, it was just kind of how I lived, and I just how I thought and stuff. So I didn't recognize that it was a mental illness. I didn't. But so my job is kind of what made me recognize that.
All right. Well, we all have our triggers.
Yes. No, just, and it's just, I guess, so the mental health with my job is knowing too much sometimes is a fault. You know what I mean? For instance, when somebody like my son, my 3-year-old, has a cold or whatever it is, your brain goes to, well, it's not, for me, I have to watch and make sure it doesn't, the next step to save him. You know what I mean? And I can't get out of that nurse mode. I can't. Like, that's just how I'm wired now,
So your anxiety gets exacerbated.
Yes, because I know, like, you have to watch for this when it's cold, or this could turn into pneumonia, or so you're watching for signs and symptoms of pneumonia when you don't really need it, you know what I mean? But I started therapy for it, and
I am a big proponent
Same.
of therapy.
Same.
Huge. It can make a huge difference just talking to a counselor, a coach, a psychiatrist.
Oh, yes. He is a psychologist, and he has told me that when I start to go that way, stay in the moment and take it hour by hour. If you can't do that, minute by minute. If you can't do that, second by second. If you can't do that, breath by breath. So that's what I've tried to do.
Those are good steps.
Yes.
So say that again. Hour by hour.
When you get into he called it an obsession cycle. Take it hour by hour. If you can't do that, minute by minute. If you can't do that, second by second. And if you can't do that, breath by breath.
Breath by breath. I love that.
And I have to do that sometimes, breath by breath. Can't think about what the next minute holds even.
Well, the fact that you can take that step and go, okay, I need to take a breath, means that you want to help yourself.
Yes.
Because a lot of times when, like myself, who's gone through depression and amongst other mental illnesses, we can't take that step back when we get into that hole, or when we get into that situation of anxiety and our brain is just completely chaotic. So now you've started to train yourself to go, take that breath.
What's funny about what you said is a lot of people don't understand that you can't just stop it, when you get into that thought pattern. With mental illness, if you don't have a mental illness, especially, you don't understand it, I feel like, or some people do, I guess, or have read about it, but some people don't understand that you can't just make it stop or turn it off, or like something that my sister told me often is, just don't think about it. It's not possible.
No, it's not possible. It's a very difficult thing. I think mental illness is just now coming into mainstream in our society.
Yes.
Whereas 10, 15 years ago, a woman who had hysterics after having a child was sent to a facility because, they're no longer capable.
Yes.
Well, now we know about postpartum depression.
Yes.
That is real. Anxiety, that is real.
Mm-hmm.
Depression is real. Mm-hmm. And I think that the more we talk about it and the more it becomes okay to talk about it, you don't have to feel shame. You don't have to feel alone. You don't have to feel when someone says, well, just don't think about it. Or just stop.
Yes.
Just be happy.
Yes, I've heard that too.
Yes.
Or what do you have to be sad about? Have you heard that one?
Your life is perfect. You have food on the table. You have your health. Mostly speaking, you have a roof over your head. You have a job. You have happy, healthy kids. Mostly. What do you have to be sad about? What do you have to be anxious about? Why are you depressed? Well, it's not something you chose.
Right.
And so I think that, at least I'm hoping, that as this progresses, we can help the majority of people understand
I do too.
it's not a choice.
Yeah.
It's something that happens chemically, emotionally in your brain that you can't just turn off like a light switch.
So, let me tell you, my psychologist, when I started seeing him, because I tried actually to get help a lot sooner than I did, but the wait lists were too long this year and all that stuff, so it took me 6 months to finally get into a therapist. And they did start me on an antidepressant for my anxiety, because it was an anti-anxiety / antidepressant.
Yes,
and
many of them are.
Yes, and my serotonin levels were so wiped that I started to feel a difference after 3 days. That's what it's supposed to take. 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks for you to feel something. After 3 days, I can notice a difference. That's how low my
positive.
Yes, positive difference. Yeah, that's just how low I was, though.
So you feel like the medication is helping?
I do. Yeah.
And do you think that continuing with therapy, those two things in combination,
Absolutely.
medication and therapy, are the way to go? Or
Absolutely. I would love to get off the medication and just do therapy, but I've finally gotten to a good place, and I don't want to I don't want to do anything to hinder that right now, because this year has been really bad for mental health. But I think the combination is, I think it's necessary. I think it's absolute. Like, you think you have to have both, because medication is just a Band-Aid until you actually sort through what's going on.
Absolutely, I would 100% agree with that. That I do think that in many instances, Western medication is necessary and appropriate, because until you can find some sort of stability within your mental illness, you can't be in a place where you can get help. So you have to get yourself into a mental state where you can go, oh,
yes,
okay, this is what I need to do. Okay. And then I think, gradually, between your own intuitive nature and your psychiatrist or psychologist, weaning yourself off of, once you've put steps into place to get yourself in a more positive mental state.
Oh, yes.
I think that's a great plan.
I do too, yes.
What advice would you give them?
Honestly, first of all, what I would say is I totally understand. I've been anxious my whole life, but also I guess I wish I would have recognized it sooner and gotten help sooner, so that I didn't live my whole life like that. So what I would say to somebody that knows they are, find somebody that you can talk to, and I absolutely just recommend. It's great if it's it's great to talk to anyone, really, but a professional, like a therapist, I can't even emphasize how much therapy has done for me. They give me tools to get out of my anxiety cycles. Anyway, so that's what I would recommend is seeing a therapist. And if you were like me, where I was just so low that I couldn't even get to a therapist, go to your PCP and get on some medication that can help you get to a place where you want to get help for yourself. That's what I would tell them.
Absolutely, that is.
But I can't emphasize enough, what I mostly would want to tell them is recognizing it as soon as possible, because I literally lived my whole adult life almost on eggshells until these past couple of years, So it's exhausting.
It is exhausting. Mental illnesses are exhausting, especially when we don't recognize that that's what's happening to us. And I love what you just said about getting help. And if I could interject and say that if you seek help from someone, maybe a trusted someone in your life, and they cannot find it within themselves to empathize with your situation, I would strongly implore you to reach out to someone else.
Yes, I have to add to that sometimes the people closest to you, which you think will be the ones to help you, are not, you know?
And I would echo that.
Yes.
Absolutely. Sometimes we have to reach out outside of our inner circle of people to get help. You will find it surprising that if you have the courage to do that, you will find it surprising that there are people who will love to help you and will strive to do their utmost to help you with anything that you need.
And understand.
And find that empathy within themselves to show you that you're not alone and you don't have to feel like you're walking on eggshells.
Yes. If I could add something, one thing that I would like to say to people like that, like me, like people like us, I should say. I've had several people in my life when I get the "what do you have to be sad about?" Think that me being depressed or anxious or anything is me being ungrateful. And I have always been grateful for everything in my life, and I feel like most people are, but depression is not something, it doesn't mean you're ungrateful. You know, like it's a human emotion, it's a chemical imbalance, and it's not because you're not grateful or don't recognize your blessings. That's not, I don't know, the reason I wanted to share that is because I had a lot of guilt about it. You know, like I had a lot of guilt about having, being blessed with, you know, great family and supportive people and still being just depressed. You know, I had a lot of guilt about it, so I wanted to throw that out there that don't feel guilty. You know, like you can't help it, you absolutely cannot help it. You know, it's not, if you could help it, you would.
Yes.
If I could have helped it, I would have.
Amen to that, because you are right. The majority of us who are just barely squeaking by day by day by day may not know that you have some sort of mental illness. Yet, we're still grateful for making it through the day.
Yes. Oh gosh, sometimes that's all
and
you can
yet
be grateful
you still
about.
feel this burden of guilt and shame of why do I feel so bad? Why do I feel so tired?
Yeah.
I just want to feel better. How many times have we said, I am so tired of being tired?
Yes. Or for me, I was so tired of crying. I literally cried almost every day for 3 months, and I was so sick of it.
Exactly.
And I knew that the people closest to me were getting tired of me, but all I could say is, like, I know you're tired of it. I'm tired of it.
Yes.
Trust me, I know you are. I am. I'm tired of it. I wish I didn't cry every day.
There's so many negative emotions that build up on us when we haven't been able to cognitively recognize that we have a mental illness. You know, you said guilt. Mine is shame. People, sadness, anger. So many negative emotions come with not understanding why we have to go through all of these emotions that we are not choosing to.
Right.
It's hard.
And then if you're in the religious side of things too, another thing is I feel like people felt like I didn't have faith that God was helping me, or didn't have faith in what was coming. And I just feel like, you know, if you're worried, if you're anxious, it's not because you don't believe. It's again, I can't emphasize this enough, just something you can't help, you know?
I would agree. I would absolutely agree that yes, you know, you can be a faithful worshiper of whatever denomination you belong to, whatever faith you belong to, whatever you believe in a higher power. You can believe that God is there with you, and yet you will still have this struggle. There's an old saying, and I love it and I hate it. It says, God helps those who help themselves. And I don't know where it came from, or who I'm quoting, or if it's in the Bible, or if it's somewhere. But that is a saying, and I remember hearing that when I was a kid, and I love it. God helps those who help themselves, and I hate it because
I understand why you love it and hate it. Yes, I do.
Because when you are in a state of mental illness or mental sickness, you are incapacitated in so many ways to help yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You are incapacitated.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, so many people who are in faith think, if I just pray to God, He can help me.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, I agree with that,
Mm-hmm.
but I also agree that sometimes you need to help yourself to other interventions than just faith.
Yes, yes, yes.
There's a whole nother discussion on that topic. I don't think we'll go into there. But
I agree.
But I would agree. And I have my own faith and have my own beliefs, and they don't mesh with everybody out there. But yet, there were times in my life that, I was angry or upset with my divine creator. But I still have that love and devotion and hope and faithfulness. And yet, I still had to go outside and get medicinal help, prescription help.
Yes.
In order to bring my mind into that workable space.
Right. Well, and I guess that's what I want. Not people, not us, like not people struggling, but the people. So I keep saying people. So what I wanted people that I was talking to, that I was trying to receive comfort and help from during that time to understand is, and if you can relate, is that you can have both. You can have. It doesn't mean you don't have faith. You can have faith and be anxious or be depressed. It's just human nature, I feel like, to react, to be worried about something. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But I will say in the same breath too, it's different to be worried about something and have anxiety.
Absolutely. Being worried is a natural...
Yes, natural human emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But having anxiety about almost everything is a completely different aspect.
And that is what I did not worry. That is what I did not understand until I was an adult. That's what I thought when I lived like that when I was younger.
So you thought it was just normal?
I did. My grandma was a worrier. She was a total worrier. And I just thought, I got it from grandma, And, that's all I thought is that I worried about everything. That's all. That's all I thought it was, But yeah, I didn't realize until I was an adult that it was anxiety. Yeah.
And that's a whole other topic of discussion.
Exactly.
What we as children grow up in what's normal.
Right.
And it truly is unhealthy. What a lot of people's normal is unhealthy. Unhealthy mentally, unhealthy physically, unhealthy emotionally. And yet, that's many people's normal.
Yeah. That's what I truly thought. I thought it was just normal to feel like that all the time.
I am so glad. Aubree is a very naturally happy, outgoing, joyful, loving, one of the kindest people I know. And I've known her for quite some time now.
Yes, 7 years.
I liked her from the moment I met her.
Oh, same.
And Aubree and I are very different in our personalities.
Yes.
And yet, I love her because of that.
Yes, me too. I feel like you helped me balance in the place.
And I feel like you made me a better person. So that's excellent. But
and honestly, sorry, this is more personal.
That's okay. I can always cut it out.
Okay, but honestly, it's so weird that we both went through this same thing about different things,
Yes.
Whatever, and we're so different.
I think once you experience... I truly, truly, from the depths of my soul, believe that if you have not tasted the bitterness of an emotion, whatever that emotion is, if that's anger or hate or disgust or pain or depression or anxiety, you cannot truly experience the opposite.
Yeah.
The true bliss and joy of the opposites of all those emotions that I just listed.
Yes. Oh, I agree.
So somebody who has lived on the emotional scale, right, in the center, is very sheltered, perhaps.
Yeah.
Didn't have pain or heartache or a trying childhood, or didn't suffer with mental illnesses, or somebody who didn't suffer with being on the poor end of the scale of life, not having the essentials of life, electricity, water, food, enough clean clothing, or perhaps, they just had that perfect, what we call the Americanized bubble of happiness.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
They are never going to have that true empathy, that true grace for someone who has experienced.
I agree.
The bitterness, the emptiness, the hatred, the cold darkness that you can find yourself in.
Yes. Well, I agree with you, and I feel like, is that why you felt shamed? Because
I felt ashamed because I can recognize the happiness in my life. I can recognize the goodness, and like you, I am grateful. I am so grateful for so many things.
Yes.
I mean, I find myself on any given day when I'm out for a walk or whatever, and I am in the sun and I cross through a shadow, I give thanks for the tree. Because truly, from the bottom of my heart, I love nature, and I give thanks to the divine creator for that tree.
Yeah.
I love it. But I found that is something that came natural to me. Now I have childhood memories of my parents, saying, "Oh, look at that gorgeous cloud," or and so I think that was just innate. That gratitude, thankfulness, and so when I came down with my mental illness, I felt that shame. When I finally had my official diagnosis, I went, "Wait, what? No, no," and then I thought, that's not me. That's just not me. It's not me. I'm happy. I'm not depressed.
Yeah.
So I had that shame, that bag of shame, and I let it just drag me down for a little while until I realized, okay, I gotta get help.
Yes. Well, and I think what you were saying about the sheltered living and never experiencing those things, I feel like it's hard, like you said before, to have true empathy because they don't understand. And so I feel like, I felt judged a little bit sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
Kind of like, they were like, what's wrong with you? Well, why, that's not normal. Or judged as in like, that's not normal. You're not normal. This is not right to be like this.
Just fix it.
Yes. Yeah. Just fix it. Just help it. Just, you know what I mean? Like being crazy. I hate that.
Yes.
Crazy, right? Like, she's crazy. She's anxious. Just anything, Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So that adds, the judgment adds to the guilt, the shame, whatever. So that's kind of why I asked if maybe because I've had people like that too. So
absolutely.
And it's hard to talk to about it.
And that's why when you reach out to somebody, and when you reach out to somebody, you do it with your heart full of faith, full of hope, and it takes courage.
It does take
It
courage.
takes a massive amount of courage to reach out to that first person going, okay, I think I need some help.
And you know what?
And if that person shoots you down...
Oh, yeah. That's what I was just going to say. Don't let it discourage you. If that is advice I would give. Because I got to a point in my depression where I talked to people that I normally wouldn't talk to because I knew how they were. But I was just so depressed. It just flew out of my mouth because I was so desperate, is the word. Desperate. Like, desperate to feel better. Desperate for somebody to comfort me because I was just so deep in it, and I got shut down. And they made me feel bad about it. And I heard whatever. But my advice is just try not to let that discourage you to the fact that you don't talk to somebody else.
Right. And I would mirror that. Absolutely. Yeah. If that first person, as much courage as that took you, and as much as that hurt you, that person could not empathize enough to step back from themselves. If you find yourself in that situation, please, I implore you, try again.
Honestly, vulnerability too. It's very vulnerable, which
is so uncomfortable for the majority of
people. Yes. have somebody comes to you and you're that person for somebody, I don't know. Try to be understanding, I guess, would be my advice. It's hard.
All right, so. So we're looking forward. I love that. Looking forward.
Me too. What I'm happy, what I have found is that with therapy and the right help and the right support, I have the tools now to not hopefully get to where I was at in 2021.
And that's the key, is that with the tools that you have implemented within the mental illness that you have gone through and are still going through, positive things, good things can come. And it's not to say that you might not have dark days still.
Yes.
You might not have a down day. And I would like to say, that's okay.
There was a point in my depression over the summer that I was just crying to one of my friends that would put up with me and would talk to me and stuff. And I was just like, I'm just so sad that even the good days are bad, And it was heartbreaking because even my good days, I felt sad, and those were good days. So my goal for 2022 is not to get back to that place, But yes, like you said, there's going to be hard days, and there's going to still be low days,
And that's just part of being human.
Yes.
And I hope that we can just step back and say, okay, you know what? It's a bad day today.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to cry today, and that's okay. I'm going to feel sad. I'm going to put my blankets over my head, and I just don't want anybody to talk to me for the next hour, and that's okay.
Yes.
And because that's part of our humanity. That's part of coping sometimes. We just need a moment.
Yes. Yes.
Because I think that if you don't accept that, it's going to be a bad day here and there. There is going to be a sad day here and there.
Yes.
You're going to experience sadness. You're going to experience some of those negative emotions. And that's part of humanity. But I think that if you don't take a moment to reflect and say, okay, it is going to happen. I think you are going to set yourself up for failure if you don't accept that, trials come.
Yes. Yes.
But that's the moment where you need to step back and go, okay,
here's my tools.
I'm going to call this person.
Yeah.
Okay, that person didn't pick up, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to read this book because that's going to make me happy. Or I'm going to turn on my favorite show, which is XYZ, because that's going to make me happy.
Yes.
And this is one of my biggest things. Okay, I am a health and wellness blogger, and healthy living is part of that. But the caveat is, if on that sad day or that bad day, you need to pick up that pint of Rocky Road and eat it.
Totally.
Do it.
Yes.
But the thing is don't feel guilty.
Yes.
If it's going to make you feel better, granted, you're not going to want to do it day after day.
Right.
Ultimately, that is going to make you regress in your progression of mental stability. But I say, you know what? If you need that pint of Rocky Road, do it. And don't feel guilty. Don't put that tag of guilt on it. Go, you know what? This is going to make me feel better. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it, and I'm going to blow my horn.
Yes.
And I'm going to let everybody know I'm doing it. And I am not going to feel guilty. And tomorrow is a new day. I'm going to start over.
Absolutely.
So if that's what you need to do to get you through that bad day, that emotional day, that crying day, that hard day, that day where everything is just making you angry and pissing you off, do it. Do it. And don't tag yourself with guilt or shame. Just do it, and it will make you feel better. And tomorrow, start over.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes. I'm a big proponent with kind of do what you got to do to get through it, like you did, and then start over.
Yes. What's that saying from Anne of Green Gables? Tomorrow is a new day with no mistakes in it yet.
Oh, I love that.
That was one of my favorite childhood movies. Anne of Green Gables.
That movie too. That wasn't it a show? Wasn't it?
Yes. There's a couple remakes, but my favorite is the one with. Oh gosh, what is her name?
I love that. I'm gonna write that down.
My old ones, the older ones, and then it was Anne of Avonlea. It was a spin-off.
Yes, we watched that Anne of Avonlea.
But it was the same actors and actresses. But that is one of my. No, that's one of my favorite quotes is that tomorrow is a new day with no mistakes in it yet. I love that. I'm going to write that down. And I love the word yet because it reminds you that you're human and you are going to make mistakes. The difference is, are you going to learn from those mistakes? Yes. And make new ones the next day? Yeah. Or make the same mistakes the following day? So that's and I love it. Me too. I love that. I do too. I love it. This was awesome. Yeah. Well, okay. Last advice. Anybody that's listening, what do you want to tell them? What do you want them to know? Gosh, my biggest thing is just find the right support system. That is, that is really all, because it took me so long to get therapy. That was all that got me through was, the people that, oh man, your comfort system, you need that, and then I would really strongly encourage, just don't be afraid to admit that you need help, Some people don't, I've been like that before. I don't need help. I don't need to do that. I don't need therapy. But yeah, just recognize it and don't be ashamed because it's going to help. And gosh, I don't know. That goes back to what you said before about vulnerability. Yes, exactly. Yeah, just the right support system is huge, I think. And I don't know. Be strong. Hang in there because we've been there. Exactly. Okay, thank you. This has been awesome. My spirit feels lighter. I know, mine just talking about it. I know, doesn't it though? Oh, yes, mine does too. Yes, it's nice to purge. It is. It is. To somebody that understands too, not someone that what I mean. Yeah. Doesn't understand. It's true. And that's the person you have to seek out. Yeah. Oh yeah. I agree. Thank you. This is awesome. Aubree's awesome. I love her. Oh, I love you. And all that she does, she should just do a little more self-care. Yes. Oh, I'm working on that. Self-care is hard for a lot. Remember. Yes. Right. All right. Thank you. So good. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I hope you found some inspiration and hope in the message you heard here. And as always, your support and subscribing helps me to continue to provide these free classes to you. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Kathleen Ann Unshamed. And if you're ready to make changes in your own life and would like someone to coach you along, I'm ready. Go to my blog and click in the coaching tab for a free consultation. We will start where you are and lift you to where you want to be. I have some free resources for you. Feel free to reference those resource pages on my homepage. You'll find one for mental health, self-care, and healthy living. And as always, I love hearing from you guys. It's wonderful. And feel free to email me or contact me on any of these social media sites. You'll find more classes here when you're ready. You can watch them on my blog or on my YouTube channel. These are the two sources that I cited for a couple things that Aubree and I talked about today.